and help.
In the stillness somewhere above.
Well, hello. Deadly Tarantula Girl coming to you from my private serpentarium in my brand new Strictly swag, which Mouse is super excited about. Look at that. Do you see that excitement on her face? Do you see that? Yes. So excited. So the first thing I wanted to do was to say happy 4th of July to my audience, American and non-American. If you're not American, then whatever, have a great day. If you are, happy Independence Day. Mousie is very excited about that. She is of a Chihuahuan descent, but an American citizen now, so there we go. In Deadly Tarantula Girl news, I will be heading to the Texas Reptile Expo that will be in Arlington the last weekend of July. So I'm very excited about that. I currently have Nandu chromatus and Poecilotheria regalis slings available. Oh yes, for you that have been asking for common names, the common names are the Brazilian red and white and the Indian ornamental tarantulas, as well as my Asian forest scorpions. I had 2 mothers reproduce, and so that was adorable. I wanted to give some shout outs. Number 1 to Mr. Paul Grigg, who actually drove here from South Carolina to come and visit me. He had been planning that trip for quite some time. Another announcement is that I am expecting a package from Arachno Clown soon of Brachypelma sabulosum, so I will have those available as well. I got a message on my LinkedIn account from Gino, and he asked me if I would give his Filipino tarantula group a shout out. So that is the ITK. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but I think it's the Ilo Ilo Tarantula Keepers. And so I wanted to say hello to everyone in that group, and I hope you all are doing well and reaching your tarantula goals. So I had a few more shout outs. Number 1, I wanted to give a little shout out to Cool Critters with Cats. And she is a little 9-year-old girl who is passionate about animals, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, the next one is to Morgan, and Morgan asked what to do when my spider molts. They asked if the legs will grow back. If you're asking if they'll have new legs after the molt, yes, of course they'll have the legs that they had, but with a brand new exoskeleton. If you had a situation in which an animal lost a limb or multiple limbs, yes, they will regenerate, but it does take some time. The next molt, they'll have kind of like a weird little wimpy leg, and then within a few molts, which can take some time, they will regenerate a full, nice, robust limb that matches all the other limbs. It just takes a little bit of time for that to kind of grow back in full strength. Okay, the next one is to Gary Miller, who actually messaged and asked for the common names of the animals rather than the scientific names. And I am working on that, Gary, so you are not the first person to complain about the technical nature of the scientific names. Not everyone knows them, but to be perfectly honest, I don't know all the common names and I don't remember them. And also, scientific names are a good way to communicate with audiences overseas, and so I will do my best to do both in the future. I got another message from Mike Patrick, and he said that recently he got one of his dream teas and that they've only had that animal since Friday. He says, I know that I'm supposed to wait a week. I tried feeding mine today and it ran away from the prey. Any ideas? And so I actually messaged back and forth with Mike and talked about the size of his animal and the size of the prey. And so there's a few things that you can do. You can offer alternate prey. You can definitely contact the breeder and ask what they were feeding, because some people only feed roaches or they only feed a certain type of cricket. So that tarantula may not recognize that other prey item as food, although they probably will in due time. So you could offer different types of foods, and I would say just keep trying. Don't overwhelm the animal with too much food. I would say every 3 or 4 days try to offer them food again. And usually tarantulas can go quite a while once they're a good size. I would worry about a spiderling who hadn't eaten in a few weeks, but not an adult tarantula. I've actually known some tarantulas to go off feeding for significant periods of time, so unless it looks too thin, as long as it has plenty of moisture, I would just continue trying different prey items and just try and feed every 3 or 4 days and not worry about it too much. Another message from Daniel Formston, and he's asking about Brachypelma smithi and the humidity, and he's basically saying that he's hearing conflicting information, and so he wanted to know what I recommended for humidity. The truth is that there's not really a perfect answer, because this species comes from the desert, but they also have burrows which are fairly moist. So what I recommend is you water the animal about once a week, but that you make sure one area of their enclosure is damper than the rest, or that they have substrate deep enough to burrow in, and that you make sure they have enough moisture to have a nice moist burrow. And so they should have a wetter area and a drier area so they can choose where they want to be. I also got a message from Tony Coffin, and he says, I have to admit I was one of those who doubted the concept of removing the egg sac or slings from the mom, but the more I see your videos and hear the benefits of the babies, I can see that you have their safety and well-being in mind and to keep the hobby going, so thank you. So thank you for that, Tony. The reason why I take the slings or babies' offspring away from the mother is a question that I get asked frequently, and I try to address it regularly. But obviously, I never take a baby away from a mom if I'm confident that she would do a better job than I could. If I have some concerns for those babies, I do go ahead and take them and foster them for her. Thank you for commenting that, Tony, because I do get a little bit of hate about that sometimes. And I think usually it's maybe people who don't have as much experience. On another video, I also asked my audience what a baby scorpion was called, and Tristan, among with many other people, commented that it's scorplings. Scorplings. So baby scorpions are called scorplings, which I think is a very cute word. So thank you for that, Tony. I also have a 4-year-old viewer by the name of Aaliyah Rose who was commenting on my dress, and I replied to her, and her mom commented back and said, "Deadly Tarantula Girl, you just made her world." And so that was really cute, and I'm so glad you're watching. Danny Sheets commented, "Who wouldn't want their own Nandu chromatus? That's just crazy talk." I totally agree. I have about 500 left. Thank you. I had another viewer by the name of Skittle Bunny who was super excited by the amazing egg sac opening, which was the Nandu chromatus slings, which there were 1,460 if you haven't seen that video. So she commented, "Oh wow, huge turnout. I just cut my first egg sac," which was Brachypelma albopilosum, but she hasn't finished editing the footage yet. She said that she yielded 661 eggs with legs and that they're already at first instar 40 days out. She is going to have a video up on that, and so make sure and go and look for Skittle Bunny. Skittle Bunny, if you want to do any trades for Nandu chromatus slings, then just hit me up. Well, that was my 4th of July Mousie moment. I hope you liked it. I am going to be rebooting my Patreon account, and so if you want to make sure that you get a shout out, make sure and go to my Patreon page, which is at Deadly Tarantula Girl. Hope you guys like this one, and I'll see you again very soon.
The city lights, you're falling in love.